On today's Mile Manor vlog, we review At World's End. Wait, that's a Pirates of the Caribbean movie. Welcome back to Mile Manor vlog. Cheers. It's empty. Today we're reviewing The World's End, the new Simon Pegg, Nick Frost, and Edgar Wright movie. So a little history on these three before we actually delve a little more into the movie. Edgar Wright, Simon Pegg, and Nick Frost all worked together for the first time on a little TV show called Spaced. It lasted 2 seasons, 2 British seasons, and is laced with just nerd porn. I mean, there's references to Star Wars, Battlestar Galactica, video games.
Well, because if the gunner had shot the pod that C-3PO and R2 were in, they wouldn't have got to Tatooine, they wouldn't have met Luke, Luke wouldn't have met Ben, they wouldn't have met Han and Chewie, they wouldn't have rescued Princess Leia. None of it would have happened. Chaos theory.
Sadly, I never got around to watching this show until about 6 months ago. It is funny. So moving on. This is the 3rd movie in the trilogy that has been dubbed the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy, which is made by these 3 guys. The first of them being Shaun of the Dead, the second one being Hot Fuzz, and now the 3rd one, World's End. World's End is the story of 5 friends that 20 years ago tried to do a pub crawl in some small little town outside of London and tried to go to 12 different bars. Well, needless to say, they got pretty wasted and never completed it. Fast forward 20 years, 4 of the guys have grown up and have become responsible adults, while Simon Pegg's character has not really become responsible. He still owns the same car he's had for the longest time, and basically is a giant man-child. A spot normally taken by Nick Frost's characters in the other movies. Joining the trio this time is Martin Freeman. You may know him as the young Bilbo Baggins from the Hobbit series, or Watson from Sherlock, or Tim from the original Office series from, across the pond. Also as Arthur Dent from The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. Not to mention Rosamund Pike's in this movie. You remember her from a little role in a little James Bond movie called Die Another Day. This movie was written by Edgar Wright and Simon Pegg. Now Edgar Wright once again is directing this, but he hasn't done much really since Hot Fuzz except Scott Pilgrim.
Mr. Pilgrim! I'm Ramona's first evil ex-boyfriend.
What? Wait, we're fighting over Ramona?
Didn't you get my email explaining the situation?
I skimmed it.
And you can tell that he learned a lot from Scott Pilgrim in this movie by the way the action scenes were shot. They're shot nice and wide, there's a lot of motion going on from person to person to person to person as, oh wait, yeah, I forgot to tell you, they're fighting a town that has gone all Stepford. They're robots, basically.
Hello, I am a robot.
The movie starts out a little slow, but progressively gets crazier and wilder, much like the characters do. The characters start out nice and quiet and sober, and as they go on to get more drinks, the night gets crazier and they get drunker. Well, the movie kind of gets drunker too. They also did a very interesting thing where they shot on 3 different types of film stock and lenses. The first portion, the flashback portion, was shot on 16mm, making it look all kind of old and stylized. And then when they came forward 20 years, they started shooting on 35mm with basic lenses. And once, pardon my French, shit gets real, they switched to Panavision lenses and shoot on Super 35mm, which just gives you this fantastic action cinematic style and just flows so well. The writing is hilarious, which is to be expected when it comes from Pegg and Wright, and it fits perfectly into the trilogy. If you've seen Shaun of the Dead and you've seen Hot Fuzz, go see this in the theater if you haven't already, because I'm pretty sure though if you've seen those and you're a fan of them, you have already seen this, because it's been out for about 2 weeks now in theaters, but I'm sure it'll be out there for a while. Go see it. I'm going to give it 4 out of 5. And now the 1, 2, free of the week. Number 1 is Brian Lee O'Malley's The Scott Pilgrim series. Now he just recently released these in color. Originally they were in black and white. It's a 6-book series. It's kind of drawn in the style of manga. It's a really funny series and has a lot of references to video games. Check it out, especially if you're a fan of the movie. Number 2 is a summertime TV show that just recently started on NBC called Camp. It's about a family camp and all the dysfunctional stuff that happens behind the scenes. Careful, there's a reason it's in the 10 o'clock time slot. There's a lot of racy humor and sexual innuendo.
Poison ivy rash is very contagious. Don't touch yourself. You know what it's like with you boys, but you gotta give it a rest.
You can catch Camp Wednesday nights on NBC, and you can also see the backlog of episodes on Hulu+. And now for The Free. The Free is a classic video game series called You Don't Know Jack. Now you might remember this from playing it on your computer as a child or in the 1990s, but they recently brought it back as an online game. You can play it on Facebook, or you could download the app on your iPhone or your Android device and play on there. They also have it available for iPad. It's a different take on your basic trivia game. Once again, warning, there's a little bit of adult content and language in it, but for the most part, unless you're really easily offended, you should enjoy it. Well, that's it for this episode of Mild Manner Vlog. In the comments down below, let me know what your favorite British import is. And I'm not just talking about beer, I mean movies, TV, it could be Sherlock, The Office, the Blood and Ice Cream trilogy. You tell me. Write it down in the comments. Also, don't forget to click like, and if you want, subscribe. We'll have a new video for you next week. I got the craving for some ice cream. I gotta go get some. I'll see you later.